Someone's connection. We're live, halftime. It took about an hour to get to halftime with the last 2 minutes of that half.
Yeah, that was brutal.
But the Bills have the lead. I think we all have Bills one way or another. Bills in a tease. Bills. I don't think anybody has Bills on the spread. We've got Josh Allen, rush yards. We've got a bunch of stuff. JJ, thoughts on the first half? Yanni is probably sweating it out. I know why Yanni's not here right now. He's probably just a nervous wreck.
But he is. But I'll tell you, they get the rock in the second half, and well, I said that before they got the holding call when they took it out of the end zone on the previous after the touchdown there. That there's no way that they continue this bad run of just terrible field position, and then they started on the 6. But I think in the second half, maybe they'll get some more opportunities with some reasonable field position that should help them loosen them up from being outside the end zone.
Yeah, that last drive, what was it, 9 plays, 91 yards? I mean, it did take an hour, but that's exactly what we needed, what the Bills needed, what Bills fans needed. I mean, up until that point, it was like, oh, boy. And the Colts left points on the board, guys.
Yeah. Yeah, they did. Way too many, especially in that final drive.
A couple inches away from this being a 17-7 Colts lead, and then the Bills are forced to change things up a bit.
Yeah, it feels like that the Colts needed to get that. I'm not saying that the Colts are out of this game. I mean, they're only down 14-10, but if they could have gone up 17-7 there, that really makes the Bills start to work. Because this Bills high-powered offense, you can only keep them down for so long. What do we have for second half lines? I've got FanDuel for the game -6.5. So that's what? Bills -2.5. Second half over-under in the game 49.5. We're at what? 24 right now. So 25.5 for the second half. Game to start was what? 51 over-under, I want to say.
Yeah, roughly that.
50.5, 51, depending what you're at. Let's see team totals too. I mean, I think that the Bills get into the 20s. Obviously, they're at 14 right now. Yeah, 28.5 is the team total for the Bills. Colts team total 20.5. Any thoughts on that? 28.5, 20.5, or any of those numbers? 49.5 total for the game.
Yeah, what do you think? I mean,
I'm looking at the.
I think the Bills get theirs, but yeah, and he's playing really good defense. I can't knock him there, but I think once they start getting some better field position, their offense is looking pretty good. Otherwise,
the Colts so the Bills probably continue to move that ball. I think in the second half, I'm not going to take the team total. I'm kind of leaning towards this Bills -2.5 second half.
Yeah.
And now
so
that we
what
have
they're
the
up for?
Colts, and now that we have the Colts down, Rivers is going to be slinging the ball a little bit, and that's what could lead to some turnovers. I mean, we're going to get a Rivers turnover eventually, right? And the recipe for that is slinging the ball if they're down. I know they're only down 4 right now. They can still keep with that attack. Frank Reich will keep with their game plan. Once they go down by more than 1 score, I mean, that's when he's slinging it around, and that's when turnovers can happen. So I kind of like Bills -2.5 second half. Do I want to double down on my original tease? Not necessarily, but that's where I'm at right now. Thoughts on that?
Well, it puts you back to where the line basically was at kickoff, right?
Yeah, it does. Yeah, -6.5, right. And I didn't think that we would arrive there with, how the first half was going. But here we are. And it's -6.5 for the second half. I mean, a couple minutes ago was what, like -2.5 or so? Colts don't win this game, right?
I don't know. What do you think, Schmidt? They're playing tough. I mean, they're just tightening up.
The Bills really needed that last drive. Up until then, the Colts had kind of been moving the ball at will, and like if Rivers completes that pass, this is we're probably looking at completely different lines for the second half. I'm looking at FanDuel here. I kind of like Colts second half total over 10.5. They've been moving the ball pretty much at will, and up until that last drive, if you looked at the stat sheet, it was like 13-5 first downs for the Colts.
It was 13-5 exactly. Yeah, it's 13-10 now.
Yeah, at halftime, its yards are 222 for the Colts, 199 for the Bills. The Bills had 99 yards on that last drive, so at one point this was 2-1 in yards for the Colts.
Yeah, it was basically 222 to 100, like right as I sat down here before the start of not halftime, but before the start of that second drive or their last drive there before halftime. It was basically 220 to 100. Yards per play, 7.4 to 5.8. The Colts are moving the ball. The Bills are getting those chunk plays. That's why I lean Bills, because I think they're going to continue to get those chunk plays. They're not going to take their foot off of the gas. I mean, some teams would do that. I don't think the Bills are going to do that because they were just down in the game. They don't want to mess around here. They're a 2 seed. There's high expectations. If they win this game, they host again next week, whoever they would play. You would think it's the Steelers, but they would host next week. Keep your foot on the gas here. Let's see. Yeah, first downs are 13-10. It was 13-5. Turnovers. No turnovers in the first half, which is interesting. I thought that maybe there'd be a little bit of jitters, but Rivers is a veteran. Josh Allen, I guess he got his jitters and everything out of the way in that wild card game last year in that tight loss against the Texans. It was like 22-19 final. So I'm thinking Bills second half.
Yeah, one thing I've noticed, at least in the first half, was they couldn't run, Bills couldn't run the ball pretty much at all. And it seemed like Josh Allen was holding on to the ball for a long time. It looked like his first read was consistently covered, and he was having to roll out, make a lot of plays with his legs, a little backyard football type action. But it seems like the Colts are doing a pretty good job of at least taking away what the Bills wanted to do, and Bills are having to adjust. And I think in the second half, Bills are just going to start chucking it. One thing I would look at is Josh Allen passing yards live player props right now. They still got him 299 on FanDuel. Like, I think he's going to finish with well over 300 in this game because I think he's going to have to keep chucking it because the Colts are going to score.
I agree with you. Josh Allen live over. I might even put that on the banner too. Live over 299.5. You said, right? Live over 299.5. Okay.
Where's he at now?
He's at 138, right? Okay.
Yeah.
Okay.
And they get the ball to start out with as well. Yeah.
Okay. I'll put that in the banner here, and then we can pivot to the next game and talk about a little Rams Hawks if you want to. Pivot to the next game and talk a little bit about that as I put the banner up here. And Josh Allen. Yeah. So as I'm typing that, AJ, thoughts on the second game? I know I have first half under 21.5. Schmidt might have that also. Thoughts on this one? The line's been moving around. Is it still at 3?
Yeah. I think so. I'm here. I'm still trying to find that prop. I'm tripping. Yeah, but what we're looking for in this game coming up is defense. And I think the most important part is whether the Rams can play stellar defense to keep them in the game, or at least keep this thing under 21 for the first half. I kind of like the Rams to a degree, but my money isn't on them. I'm just playing that first half under. Have a little funny money promo on the Rams, but plus 263. That's just with a boost, and that's for some minor money, so not really much to talk about. But the reason why I backed them and really like this first half under is because of their defense, and the way that Seattle's been playing lately is more of a plotting type of offense and just trying to push the ball down the field on the ground and not taking a whole lot of risks. DK's been dropping them and all that sort of thing. But as we've said in other podcasts, that the Rams defense is built to play against a team like Seattle, and vice versa. So I think the wild card is what we're going to get out of the Rams quarterbacking situation, whether it's an odd improvement in a way, or whether it just turns out to fall flat on their face. But the faith in Jared Goff, anyways, there isn't much there to do what they need to do to play in a shootout. So it all comes down to their defense.
Schmidt, thoughts on that one? I agree with everything that you just said, and I think it's going to be a defensive battle. It might not be the most entertaining game to watch, but that's why I bet the under.
Yeah, the game's probably going to be the one where you can go out and get some errands done and come back and see that only 3 points.
Yeah, that's kind of what I'm thinking. Having some family over for dinner. I'll have it on in the background, and then we'll have the night game tonight. We'll have Bucks and Washington. We'll do a live stream for that one. Not necessarily sure, who's going to be on that one, but we'll do that at halftime. We'll get some bets. I've got Bucks in a tease Am I getting a little bit nervous? Not really, but something tells me that it just could be one of those ugly games, ugly, and maybe Washington comes through the back door. I know, JJ, that we were talking with Yanni about, expectations on that game, and we kept saying 35-10, 35-10. I hope it's 35-10 Bucks. But, as I'm getting closer and closer, I'm like, I don't know, night game, which shouldn't play anything into it. Cold night, if that pass rush gets home and Tom Brady gets bothered early, are we going to see a close first half? Let's see. So,
well, and what's interesting here is something I looked up when we were doing the NFC pod, was doing an alternate line on Washington and laying the 13. So I did a little bit for plus 170, but the real money is where the teaser's at, and the Bills need to take care of their end of things. That's for sure, before we even get to the point about worrying about whether Tampa wins the game and gets us home on the teaser.
Right. Yeah, Schmidt, do you have anything on that late game? I know you have Bucks and a teaser, right? Bucks.
Yeah, Bucks and a teaser, and they took Yanni's Antonio Gibson under 47.5 rushing yards.
Yeah, same.
Okay. That's not a bad bet at all. Yanni's always got some good stuff. There's always some good stuff with Yanni. Schmidt's connection's crackling, so I'm going to mute him for a little bit here. But JJ, any final thoughts with the thoughts for the second half here, other than go Bills?
I mean, yeah, definitely go Bills. But outside of holding some of the these over tickets, the first half and the full game over, it's been a very, very I'd say an intense game. It's been a good game, from a third party situation. But again, I'm not completely independent of that whole thing. So I got my money and emotions riding on this one, which, always makes for it to be a little fun. But I have confidence in the Bills here getting it done.
I hear you. I'm with you. I have confidence also. Third party situation. I mean, I'm not entirely third party. I'm rooting for the Bills. I want the Bills to win. I've bet on the Bills. But yeah, it could be an entertaining game. First half was very entertaining. I can only imagine if the end of the last 2 minutes of the second half is like how it was in the first half, then we're in for a photo finish. But I think the Bills take care of business. We have Bills minus 2.5. I hope it gets there. And, Bills and the T's are the big bets, to be honest with you. So, JJ, let's get it. We'll do another one of these at least once or twice, maybe even tomorrow. There's 5 more games after this. So it's a big treat here. It's a big treat for, wild card weekend, or it's super wild card weekend. So,
well, here, shout out to Yanni, who said he just needs the Bills to win so he can stop feeling like he needs to puke. That's correct.
Shout out to Yanni. Good luck, Yanni. Hopefully he doesn't puke. Hopefully he doesn't need to puke, anything of that nature. And he's hosting a home game next weekend again against, who knows? Could be the Steelers. Could be anybody at this rate. So, all right, fellas, let's get some bets here in the second half.
All right, guys. Enjoy.
Later. And broadcast. Go Bucks, need new router. I put you off mute.
Oh man.
Yeah, it's crackling quite a bit. And I thought it was like someone typing at first, and I didn't realize that I could mute it and do away with it. But I thought maybe it was JJ too. So
I had no idea. I thought about switching.
Yeah, crackling loud.
Oh, okay. Yeah, I thought about switching my Wi-Fi, to the alternate one, but then I thought, well, I don't know. If it's not me, I'd hate to really screw it up,
Hey, it's good to get the kinks out of the way in the early game of the first game. So, all right, I'm going to go finish some stuff in the basement, prep for my parents to come over, and I'll talk to you guys. Hopefully we get Bills here.
All right, you got it. Later, guys.
Right, later.